Back to help improve how we manage inmates and to ensure that we're accountable at every level. This will help us align the daily operations with the best practices, especially in key areas like our staffing plans, hygiene, maintenance, facility upkeep, grievance reporting, and how searches are conducted. This project supports the agency's 2030 plan, which focuses on key pillars of impact crucial to the well-being of success of the inmate population and the overall advancement of the agency. We will prioritize the recommendations that can be implemented in the short term while continuing to carefully evaluate the plan for more complex ones over the long term. Again, I've provided each of you a copy, or you'll have a copy when you leave today. And I want to thank and point out Rochelle White for her work in coordinating this entire effort with the Moss Group and the agency. And Chairman, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Collier. Any questions or comments on Mr. Collier's report? If not, the next item on our agenda is the TBCJ Parole Division Spotlight. And as with prior meetings, we would like to continue showcasing our parole division and our parole officers who are out in our communities every day, making Texas a safer place and changing lives. Parole Division Director, Mr. Rene Hinojosa, I see you coming up, and I understand you will be introducing Parole Officer Sean Norland. Thank you both for joining us, and Mr. Hinojosa, whenever you're ready, please begin.
Sir, good afternoon, Chairman Nichols, Mr. Collier, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to introduce Parole Officer Sean Norland. Sean started his career with the agency as a correctional officer at the Ellis Unit in December of 2016. After promoting to the rank of sergeant, Sean realized that he could have an even greater impact with the men in white if he was working on the outside as a parole officer. So in December of 2024, he made that a reality and began his career as a parole officer right here in town at the Bryan District Parole Office. Officer Norland is a graduate of Sam Houston State University, an avid reader, and a proud father of a 2-year-old baby girl. Officer Norland comes to work every day with the goal in mind of helping his clients become better people and become successful in their communities. Please help me welcome Parole Officer Sean Norland.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Norland. Officer Norland, we appreciate you being here. Would you care to share a little of your perspective on what you do and how you do it?
I want to say thank you for the introduction. It did cover quite a bit already that I have to say. As he said, my name is Parole Officer Sean Norland. I've been part of the Parole Division since December and proudly graduated the Parole Officer Training Academy this past March. I've been with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for about 8 years now. I started as a correctional officer at the Ellis Unit in 2017, and I walked the runs for over 4 years. During this time, I also studied and graduated from Sam Houston State University in 2020. Then I promoted to the sergeant at the Hamilton Unit here in Bryan. As inmates were preparing to step out from behind the gates and rejoin society, I saw that they needed more help. I saw that there were opportunities for them to better themselves, and I saw how critical it was going to be for parole when they got out. It was at this time the real impact parole can have on our clients as they step out from behind the institutional division and join the parole division as the bridge to society. With that being said, allow me to introduce Mr. Matthew Kelly. Mr. Kelly was released to parole in February of 2016, and with his current progress will successfully discharge in June of 2026. He has successfully completed participation in the therapeutic community and peer support programs, and in these 9 years has not had a single violation. So it is my pleasure, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly, welcome. We're glad that you're here, and we are very honored to hear from you and your perspective on the parole process and your journey. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Nichols and Mr. Collier, board members. My name is Matthew Kelly. I'm delighted to speak with you today about my TDC journey and I'm honored to have been selected to do so. In 2011, I was arrested and charged for the second time with manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance. On a holding cell in the floor of the county jail, I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ and asked him if he could do anything with what was left of my life. I'd gladly submit. I received a 15-year sentence to TDCJ, and upon arriving to prison, I quickly discovered that there were lots of programs for someone who wanted help and a better life. It started at the Travis Unit in Austin, Texas, the faith-based dorm program run by Chaplain Robert Durow. Chaplain Durow's here today, of the God of Hope Ministries. I ended up staying there for 3 semesters for a total of a year and a half. The faith-based dorm not only taught me about God and His Word, but parenting classes, marriage classes, life skills, authentic manhood, servant leadership, so much more. It was truly life-changing for me. I'm still a member of that ministry, keeping a close friendship with Chaplain Durow and many of my mentors and class brothers. I return there every year for our alumni picnic, and at some point, I'm going back in there to teach a class. Next, I was sent to PAC Unit in Navasota, Texas, to the trustee camp where I worked for the farm shop as a mechanic, working on tractors and combines, etc. I liked it because I had some structure. I led worship and Bible classes for both Protestant and Catholic service. I was enrolled in college at Shalom Bible College, working on a BA in Divinity, which the God of Hope Ministries helped me get in by getting all my transcripts and my GED information, all that stuff. I took an amazing class called Cognitive Intervention. Go Windham. It helped me tremendously. I also chaired NA and AA groups on that camp. I made parole from there and was sent to Brownwood, Texas, to the TR Havens unit on an FI-5 and began the in-prison therapeutic community. I had a job working for the Department of Transportation in the mornings, and then rehab classes, recovery groups, treatment plans all day, and then I did church at night. I was a worship leader there also, and chaired NA also. I had a great counselor there. Her name was Miss Rollins, and I had expressed to her that I never wanted to use drugs again, and I didn't want to come to prison again. She did everything she could to teach me what I needed to know, not to come back. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Enos. Appreciate it. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's a big reason that I'm 14 years clean today. Just got my chip 2 days ago. But today is actually my clean day. We were at the meeting, it would have been past it, so there's all that. Yeah, today's my clean day. I was released from prison on February 16th of 2016 to BV Casa halfway house. I didn't have anything. No clothes. My son bought me an outfit, and I was released in that. I was there for 3 months doing classes, more recovery groups, holding down a job in an auto body shop. It was challenging to start all over again from nothing, but my family came through with love and support, and I got on my feet. And next I was sent home. I lived way out in the country in Caldwell, Texas, with no car. I was required to do 2 recovery groups per week and aftercare twice a week for 6 months. Parole officers Derek Johnson and Miss Janet Thane, and Miss Thane supporting me today, were super amazing and so helpful. Miss Thane's like family to me. exactly. So they assured me that no matter what, just keep in touch. We could work through all these challenges, any challenges, and that meant the world to me. And they could tell I was determined to make it. So I walked, I thumbed rides, rode bicycles, borrowed cars, whatever it took to get to those recovery meetings and aftercare, and I completed them all with no infractions. My family provided a car that I could work off by working on the family property, and I started a steady job at a cabinet shop that I still have today, 9 years later. I became heavily involved in a foundation called Impact Burleson County, and it's a place that helps people with food, clothes, and Christ-centered recovery groups, ran by a man named Mike Stone. He became my mentor and my sponsor. I attended Celebrate Recovery there, and we started doing recovery groups in the Burleson County Jail, the first recovery groups ever. And yes, that's the same jail in the same county that I got that 15 years from. So Mike and I did recovery groups in there for about 9 months in the Burleson County Jail until he got COVID and he sadly passed away. He had worked for 8 years trying to get into that jail. So we were determined to keep Impact alive and Mike's legacy alive, and I stepped up as a recovery outreach counselor and began leading these groups, still going into jail by myself, and my wife Vicki helped me when she could for the next 4 years. A new director with our recovery vision was chosen by the board. That man is John Pate. He just had to leave, but he'd been here all morning, who I'm honored to serve with the last 5 years. He's amazing, like a brother. And I brought Mike with me. This is him. Since 2016, I attended church at One Church Caldwell, where I serve as a deacon and a worship leader. Our associate pastor just recently became a chaplain in the Navy, and so I will be stepping in as associate pastor. Under the leadership, under our lead pastor, Juan Frostro, he's here today as well. So as you can see, a lot has been accomplished in the last 14 years. 5 inside and 9 out. I paid the last of my fees last week. Yeah. Thank you, Lord. And in 2 days, I start my year countdown. It will be 3 days. I count my year countdown to finish parole. I have a relationship with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I got married to an amazing woman. Thank you, Lord. She's here today, too. Bought a home. I started a lawn care and property management business on the side that's thriving, more than I could ever imagine. A very lucrative business, and I have the keys to the $1 million homes of some of my clients. You know, just thank you, Lord. I play in an awesome contemporary Christian rock band. It's called Forged in Faith. Got to plug the band. I have the love and respect of my children and peers, found my passion and purpose in ministry and recovery, and I'm known in my community and with law enforcement as someone who does good things in the community. I was just talking with Mr. Hinojosa when I first got here, and we're talking about, you know, this is God's story. This is my story, but this is your story too. Now that I've told it to you, I don't feel my time in prison was wasted. I believe it saved my life. And though I made a decision to change, I don't believe anyone accomplishes great things alone. So I want to give thanks to God for his mercy, grace, and transformation. all the people, my family, mentors, programs, and support system I've had along the way, and good people from TDCJ and especially the Parole Division. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly, for gracing us with your presence and having the courage to come forward and tell your very, very important story. And it is important that we recognize, and I really appreciate the way that you've recognized the support group around you and also the contributions to your story by the good men and women of the Parole Division who are doing that work every day. So thank you very much, sir, for your time here today.
Thank y'all. Thank you for having me.
The next item on our agenda is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding purchases and contracts over $1 million. TDCJ Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Ron Steffa, will be presenting today. Members of the board, I don't ordinarily vote unless it is to break a tie. However, my firm represents entities included in the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Therefore, I will not be taking action today on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Mr. Steffa, if you're ready, please proceed.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chairman Nichols, board members, Mr. Collier. I will be bringing 50 purchases for your consideration and approval today. They can be found on pages 53 through 64 behind tab G of your booklet. Items 1 and 2 are increases to the fiscal year 24-25 contracts with the Texas Tech University Health Science Center and the University of Texas Medical Branch for the provision of correctional managed healthcare services to TDCJ inmates. This funding was provided through the supplemental appropriations process to cover the projected healthcare expenditures for the rest of this biennium. Items 3 through 8 are increases to the fiscal year 24-25 contracts for the provision of residential and outpatient substance abuse treatment and aftercare services for inmates released from substance abuse felony punishment facilities, in-prison therapeutic communities, or referred to the substance abuse counseling program. Item 9 is an increase to the fiscal year 25 contract for courier and delivery services with FedEx. This is due to an increase in utilization. Item 10 is an increase to the fiscal year 25 contract for aluminum sign blanks to manufacture highway signs. This is an increase in the amount previously approved at the June 24 board meeting due to an increase in usage. Item 11 is an increase to the fiscal year 25 contract for mortuary and funeral services. This is an increase from the amount previously approved at the October 24 board meeting due to an increase in services. Item 12 is an increase to the fiscal year 25 contract for electronic monitoring services. This increase is from the amount previously approved at the August 24 board meeting to provide for an extension period during the transition to the new contractor. Item 13 is for the fiscal year 26 contract for the renewal of electronic monitoring services. Item 14 is a fiscal year 26 contract for the renewal of food services at the Keegan State Jail. Item 15 is a FY 26 renewal for bulk fuels used at fuel depots located at various units across the agency. And we are seeking a 10% variance to account for any fluctuations in pricing or usage. Item 16 through 21 are fiscal year 26 contract extensions for 122 days for the provision of residential and outpatient substance abuse treatment and aftercare services for inmates released from substance abuse felony punishment facilities, in-prison therapeutic communities, or referred to the substance abuse counseling programs. These services are currently in the process of being rebid. Item 22 is a fiscal year 26 contract renewal for the operation and treatment services provided at the East Texas Treatment Facility located in Henderson, Texas. Item 23 is for the fiscal year 26 purchases of commissary items for sale in unit commissaries throughout the state. An itemization of each category is provided in your booklet for your information. And we are seeking a 10% variance to accommodate fluctuation in any prices or usage. Item 24 is for the fiscal year 26 purchase of food items for inmate meals. An itemization for this by category is also provided for your information. And we are again seeking a 10% variance to accommodate any fluctuation in prices or usage. Item 26 is the fiscal year 26 contract renewal for the existing body camera program. Item 26 is the fiscal year 26 replacement contract for fertilizer to be used on field and vegetable crops. Item 27 is a fiscal year replacement contract for the purchase of FedEx delivery services. Item 28 is a fiscal year 26-27 renewal of an interagency contract with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission to provide for the state Medicare match for the Texas Correctional Office on offenders with medical or mental impairments, services that are provided through the local mental health authorities. Items 29 and 30 are the fiscal year 26-27 contracts with the University of Texas Medical Branch and the Texas Tech University Health Science Center for the delivery of healthcare services to TDCJ inmates. This is consistent with the funding decisions that were made this past legislative session. Items 31 through 46 are the fiscal year 26-27 replacement contracts for the Texas Correctional Office on offenders with medical or mental impairments, contracts for case management and continuity of care services with the local mental health authorities. Item 47 is the fiscal year 26 renewal for inmate mortuary and funeral services. Item 49 is a new contract for inmate banking, warehouse management, point of sale application, and parole management fee system within our commissary and trust fund operations. If approved, it would be awarded to Advanced Technologies Group, LLC. Item 49 is a new contract for walk-through metal detectors. And item 50 is a fiscal year 26-27 contract for cloud-based analytics technology that is used with our inmate telephone system and is funded through a grant from the governor's office. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Steffa. Are there any questions or comments from the board? I see some lights on. Mr. Burrow, Dr. Burrow, do you have a question? Any other questions on there? I just have one question on the items 11 and 47. Are those basically the same item, or are they?
There is. One is an increase to the current FY25 contract, and then one is for the contract coming up next year.
Got it. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, oh, yes. Yes, sir.
I apologize for not knowing the details of this, but something Mr. Collier referred to earlier as in our privately managed facilities moving to state managed. And I think it's number 27 here. I'm sorry, maybe 22. Number 22, does this unit is not included in that move?
Correct. Of the 8 private prisons, private state jails, 7 of them will be transferred to TDCJ operations. There is one prison that will remain privately operated, and that is East Texas facility in Henderson, and that would be for this facility.
Okay, all right. And no expectation of that one rolling over to state managed?
No, sir. All of the other 7 facilities, we actually own the facility, and we were contracting for the management operations. In Henderson, they own the facility, and so we would continue to contract for those operations.
All right, great. Thank you for the clarity.
All right, good question. If there are no other questions, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the purchases and contracts over $1 million as presented.
I have a motion from General Bill Welch. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion from General Bill Welch. I have a second from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Please let the record show that I abstained from voting on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Prison Rape Elimination Act, or PREA Ombudsman. PREA Ombudsman Cassandra McGilbra will be presenting here today. Whenever you're ready, Ms. McGilbra, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Vice Chair Johnson, board members, and Mr. Collier. I'm here to give the updates for the PREA Ombudsman April 2025 through May 2025. The PREA Ombudsman activities were we did 340 PREA Ombudsman inquiry. There was 167 public, general public inquiries, 1 legislative, and 172 inmates. The pre-ombudsman compliance specialist assisted with 12 PREA audits, 6 at correctional institution division facilities, 4 community supervision and correction department CSCDs, and 2 transitional treatment centers and residential reentry centers. We reviewed over 236 PREA investigations, and we attended 2 of the wardens' meetings for those months.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have any questions for me?
Thank you, Ms. McGilvray. We appreciate, again, as always, the hard work of you and your staff that are achieving this very, very important mission of making sure that we've got the compliance programs in place and that they are robust. So any other questions or comments from the board? If not, thank you very much for your report. The next item on our agenda is a report from the Office of the Independent Auditor, who we've heard from today. But Mr. Cerrito, we welcome you back to the podium, and when you're ready, please proceed.
Well, it's good to be back. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Collier, members, our status report today, if you'll go ahead and go to the next slide. Quick update on the status of the projects we're working on now. We have 1 remaining full-scope carryover project from our 2024 plan. That is incident reporting, and that's actually in the reporting process now. As a matter of fact, we received Mr. Lumpkin's management responses yesterday. Also, the time scan application, that is also in reporting, and earlier this week, we met with Tina Clark and with Mary Babcock on HR on that. Our next slide. So we currently have 2 ongoing consultations. That's inmate custody that we're working with Mr. Babcock, Mr. Barbie on some initiatives to take a look at inmate classification, inmate custody. We're also doing a consultation on purchasing where we're actually just embedded in the process to implement the CAP system. We have 8 full scope projects on the plan. 5 of those are ongoing. 2504 inmate communication contracts, an update to what you have in your package. We have now moved that into reporting, and we're beginning work on a draft report. We have just recently assigned 2506, which is our superintensive supervision program and electronic monitoring program. For those of you who know, that is GPS and electronic monitoring. As a part of this project, we will also be following up on a Texas State Auditor's Office audit report and recommendations that they made in that report. So in case you don't know, it's also our responsibility to follow up and with State Auditor's Office recommendations, and then I serve as the liaison to the Texas State Auditor. Windham School District Career and Technical Education Tool Control, that is in reporting. Inmate identification documents, that has recently been planned, that has recently been assigned and is in planning. And then our self-study, as I've mentioned in the past, as a part of compliance with global auditing standards and U.S. government auditing standards. We have to get audited every 3 years. And that's one of the things that I often get asked is, well, who audits the auditors? Well, every 3 years, and it's technically by law because Texas Government Code requires that we follow those standards. And those standards require that we have someone come in and evaluate us every 3 years. As a part of that, there's a self-study where we go in, we look at what we do, and we identify any gaps that we might have, and then we provide that to that peer review team when they come in. Next slide, yeah. So walkthroughs, that's where we update our risk assessment. One more update, Facilities Division ongoing risk assessment, that is now complete. Then we have 2 follow-ups that are currently in progress. So actually, one actually just recently completed, and you guys have received that report earlier. It may have been late last week. That's allegations of improper vendor payments. And as you recall, that was an audit that was done on a specific complaint that was received several years ago that we found no merit that there were any improper payments. The State Auditor's Office also conducted a similar audit and also found the same. So we followed up on our audit and also followed up on their audit because, you know, there were still some things that could get better. And then lastly, our structural integrity follow-up, that's also in reporting as well. We've met with Mr. Guerrero and his team, and we'll continue moving that process forward. Our last slide is our implementation tracking. As you know, we make recommendations, but the auditors just never go away. And so currently we're tracking 70 recommendations. 50 of those have been implemented. As you can see, 3 are still just waiting confirmation by the final authority. And then 20 of those are in ongoing status. If you'll indulge me, before I pause for questions, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that there's somebody else in here that has reached a milestone in their career, and that's Miss Renee Russell, who just achieved 20 years of state service. 18 of that has been in the service of the Board of Criminal Justice. So thank you, Renee. And then also our whole team here, if you would just stand up. And now I'll pause for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Cerrito? Judge Francis, I can't believe that you declined the opportunity to ask a question of Mr. Cerrito.
I thought you'd be impressed.
Oh.
It's on your tie. I'm just waiting
The
for
little
the
flowers.
fall when we can make him bring out the hat.
All right,
There you
all
go.
right. So if there are no other questions, Mr. Cerrito, thanks again for the great work of you and your team, and we'll look forward to hearing from you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
The next agenda item, continuing the reports from our direct reports, is a report from the Office of the Inspector General, and we've got our Inspector General Lance Coleman here, and whenever you're ready, Mr. Coleman, please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Chairman, members, Mr. Collier. This morning, or this afternoon now, we want to first highlight our training staff. We have 3 individuals that do all of the TCOL, which is Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, our training, and we're also an TCOL contract training provider, which doesn't mean we get paid for it, but that allows us to train other state and local officers with our training. And the individuals I'm going to introduce to you, our training cycle tracks the biennium, so it starts, the new one will start January 1st, 2025, and will end September 1st, 2025, and end August 31st, 2027. So we track that 2 years. So this 2-year cycle that we're in right now, our investigators have taught over 2,100 students, 111 classes, and 4,100 TCOL training hours. Our first officer is Lieutenant Lee Duran. Lee is been in law enforcement for 25 years, 13 years with TDCJ and 9 with OIG. He came to the training department in 2019 as a training investigator before being promoted to lieutenant in 2022. Lee has a master's in education, and he is now enrolled in a PhD program. Erin Fontenot is our next investigator. She has 20 years law enforcement experience, 8 years with OIG. She transferred to training in 2022 and became the agency's training coordinator in 2024. Then Daniel Lennox, he came over in 2024. He has 17 years law enforcement, 3 years with OIG, and all 3 of them do a really good job on keeping our officers and the officers around the state up to date on their continuing education and training. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple of criminal cases, and they're ongoing criminal cases right now, so there's limited, but I want to give y'all a snapshot on what we're seeing and what we're doing out there. The first one is a strike force operation that has to do with individuals, and I have to thank Mr. Collier and Mr. Lumpkin. This is a joint Fusion Center OIG investigation, and initiated with the Fusion Center. We developed information. TDCJ helped us in the mailroom, and we're all working really well together. And we had 6 individuals that were arrested in Odessa, Lampasas, Killeen, Laredo, and Austin. They received information that there was synthetic marijuana being mailed to the mailrooms, and we got onto that. We started intercepting that contraband in the mailrooms, and then we developed information to get search warrants to go out and actually arrest these individuals, run search warrants on their house. This is a little picture of what we got at the number 1 person, and she's sitting out of prison or out of jail right now on an $850,000 bond. But as you can see, these books, these were at her house, and we're seeing the same thing. These books that I'm showing in the bottom right corner are all loaded with synthetic K2 on the pages, and they were ready to be mailed. This stack over here is being prepped. And then we had, in addition to that, and we'll see some closer. We have a bag of 273 grams of K2 powder, 461 grams of meth, and then there's a bottle over here that had 663 grams of liquid meth, and we also had some cell phones and laptops that were seized. And that's a little closer look at the bag of methamphetamine. So all that would be ground down, turned into liquid, and sprayed onto the paper, on the sheet, on the books, and then shipped to TDCJ. So great opportunity to work with Fusion Center and intercept this before it got into the unit. This top left person, I'm not gonna name their names, it's all out there, but she's the one that has $850,000 in bonds. She had 7 first-degree felony charges, but she was the mastermind of the operation. And those are other individuals that were arrested in that case. All right, the next one's the Telford unit. This is ongoing. There's a lot of moving parts on this, but in 2024, DPS made a cold stop, traffic stop, and a K-9 search, and they found 487 grams of methamphetamine and 1 pound of marijuana packaged to be introduced into the prison system. They got with the federal authorities, that got flipped to one of our TDCJ, OIG, TFOs with the FBI, and she started working it, and they were able to develop a lot of information over the year to put this case together. So on April 9th, OIG Special Operations, Strike Force, our unit investigators, and over 100 state, federal, and local officers converged on the Texarkana area. And we had OIG was the lead, Texas DPS, Arkansas State Patrol, Texarkana Police, Texarkana, Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas, Bowie County. A big thanks to the Bowie County District Attorney's Office for accepting this case, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Marshals. And also Border Patrol sent us 2 helicopters to support that operation from Louisiana. On April 9th, we ran 7 search and arrest warrants on former employees, and they were arrested. We also identified 10 inmates that were implicated in this. And then on June 5th, 21 days ago, the Bowie County Grand Jury indicted 19 individuals for first-degree felony indictments for engaging in organized criminal activity. Since then, there's been 3 additional former employees. 2 of them have been indicted, and 1 of them has been arrested pending indictment. So here's your initial traffic stop, was the 487 grams packaged up that DPS found that got this ball rolling. This is, I guess, an enchilada. It was packaged up. It was in one of the employees' house that was going to go to that work that morning, and there was between 5 and 10 ounces of methamphetamine in there. We're having to have that analyzed to get the exact amount, but that's how that individual was going to bring that in. And here's another packaging of, you've seen this before, they package the meth in these balloons, and they bring it into visitation, the inmate swallows them and then gets rid of them later, and they divvy it up. Do I have any questions on the contraband? Okay, next slide. Okay, so the correctional law enforcement community and I had met a while back, and we came up with a sign that we're going to start installing at our units. It's a contraband-free zone. The one on the left is 4 foot by 4 foot. Hopefully fairly soon we'll start rolling those out. And then the other one's 2 foot by 3 foot, and that's going to be utilized on the entry gate that specifies exactly from a phone charger all the way to a pound of cocaine. They're all illegal, so can't have any of those past that. So the highway gate will have the big one, and past that point, there's no point of return if you take any of those items past there, and we will deal with you accordingly. And with that, I will yield.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Appreciate the update on all your internal training and also the issue of contraband. No questions. I just think that it's a time that we all ought to pay special tribute and give thanks to what your group is doing, and also to the law enforcement partners that you're working with. You named them, but we know that no one group can deal effectively with this scourge of these, especially these synthetic substances, the methamphetamine, that's coming into our units and is having devastating impact in our units. So, thanks to you, and thanks to all of our partners in this engaged effort to do what we can to eradicate this scourge in our system. Any other questions or thoughts, Dr. Burrow?
Yes, Mr. Coleman, I've had a chance to meet with and interview some active correctional officers, people whose names will be up on this board for years of service that love their job. And they are so happy about the arrests that have been made, and they actually feel safer in their job, and are proud of the agency for catching the bad guys, we'll say. But anyway, hats off to everyone involved. I know there's a lot of moving and working pieces and a lot of teamwork in the agency, everyone with OIG, and even coordinating with all of the outside law enforcement agencies. But I mean, I met with one just last week, and they actually were excited and felt safer at work with some of these arrests.
Thank you, Dr. Burrow. Yes.
Just a couple of things. Thank you so much, Mr. Coleman, for the work you're doing. Not only would I say, Dr. Burrows, that the staff out in the units are excited about what's happening. We, as the board, are excited about the fact that we're arresting especially some staff people. And I don't know if if you think that what we're doing is deterring other staff members, and maybe they're having second thoughts about what they might want to do or they're doing. And I don't know if we can see that right now, but hopefully the message is getting out there. Secondly, we don't know the street value of all of this, the meth and the other drugs that you confiscated. We don't know that street value. I always want to know that.
I know, and we're working on getting that for you, because we have a bunch of subpoenas and stuff out. We're still getting some more. That investigation's far from being over. But by the next board meeting, hopefully if I have time, I will be able to answer that for you, and get you a total. And I just want to let y'all know that our federal partners, we've supported them for so many years. Well, they're paying us back now, because they are 100% involved with us to try to make our community in the prison facilities safer. And we have the best relationship we probably ever had with DPS, just based on who's running it now. We're very good, close friends. And our future looks really good with our partners, all of them, state, local, and federal.
And let me just say that, consistent with what Vice Chair Johnson said, that we understand that, as Dr. Burrow said, that the vast majority of our frontline correctional officers are coming to work, doing the right thing every day to keep those units safe and to keep the people of Texas safe. And it's a shame that when we have situations like this where you've got some bad apples, that folks who have succumbed to temptation of being implicated in getting this crud into our system, it's reassuring to us that we know that there's going to be enforcement and that the message will be sent. But that's not intended to be any kind of a statement about the caliber or quality of our correctional staff across the board, because we have outstanding staff. So we always need to keep that perspective, and I'm sure you agree that but it is important to send the message to those who may be tempted every once in a while to do the wrong thing, to have these kinds of cases like the one in Bowie County that are being actively prosecuted as what was that again, first-degree felonies?
Yes, sir. Engaged in organized criminal activity. 71.02. They can look it up. It's not good.
Okay.
5 to 99 are life, so there's not any probation for the first 5 years. So.
Okay. All right.
And then today's a testament of what you've seen here at the board meeting. We have wonderful people working for TDCJ. It's not about them. It's about the ones that don't want to follow the rules and act the way they should.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. Any other comments, Tom?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was going to say, I echo all the thoughts of all the comments made here, and part of the law enforcement committee, how much we appreciate what you and your staff are doing. And for some of the board members that haven't made the opportunity to go by, I did a surprise visit of the Fusion Center the other day, and that is one fantastic operation to really go by and see. Thank you so much, Lance.
I have to think back 4 years ago, and Mr. Collier had a vision, and we discussed it, and then this Fusion Center is almost 3 years old, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride with you, Mr. Collier. You made that happen. We saw it, or he saw it first, something similar in South Carolina. Now they're calling us to ask us what's going on because, you know, Texas, we do things bigger and better. So we figured it out, and we owe that debt of gratitude to you for taking a chance on us to give us the opportunity to put that together and work together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your report. The next item on our agenda is a report from the Office of the Independent Ombudsman. Independent Ombudsman Director, Mr. Brian Patrick, who we've heard from earlier, will be presenting. Mr. Patrick, when you're ready, please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon again, Chairman, Vice Chairman, board members, Mr. Collier. It's important to note, to start off, this reporting period, generally it's an 8-week reporting period from the middle of 1 month to the subsequent middle of the 2 months later. We started this one as the last one, right in the middle of March, but we carried it through for 10 weeks instead of 8. That'll allow us to get on a regular from the 1st of 1 month to the 1st of the following month from now on. So during that period, that 10-week period, we had 1,439 inquiries submitted to the office. 1,430 were for the public, 9 was from legislators, I apologize. There were also 14 unit visits conducted during that period. The most common complaints received were life and safety issues, medical, as well as allegations against staff.
And appreciate that report. And just to give, can you give us a brief update kind of on recent additional resource allocation? Where are you in terms of your staffing and making sure that you've got all the good folks in place to be able to do the work you need to do?
Yes, sir. As you saw earlier, we do have a deputy director in place. Very excited about her. She brings a wealth of knowledge, experience, and tenaciousness. So we're very excited to have her on board. She's going to be very valuable for the office. We also did promote a second supervisor. Cindy Cato was promoted from an Ombudsman 2, and she is now an Ombudsman 4, which is an Ombudsman supervisor. She is stand-up. She's a rock star. She does such a great job. She is a very thorough investigator and somebody that the other staff rely upon heavily to go to for knowledge and experience to help them with their cases. So we're good in that aspect. With the staffing, we also have a 2030 plan for staffing. I've talked with Mr. Steffa about that. We also have we're looking for additional office space. We do have a plan in place. We do have some additional cubicles that are going to be coming on at the end of the year, which will allow us to fill some vacancies. And I will say that speaking with business and finance, with the CFO, they're always more than happy to collaborate with us. We always make sure that we get what we need within the resources of TDCJ, so I'm very appreciative with their efforts and their assistance that they provide.
Thank you for that update. Any other questions from the board for Mr. Patrick? If not, thank you very much for your report, sir. So continuing with our updates from our direct reports, the next item on the agenda is a report from the Director of the State Council for Offenders, Ms. Wyvonne Long. If you're ready, Ms. Long, please proceed.
I'm ready. Chairman Nichols, Vice Chair Johnson, board members, Mr. Collier. First, I feel like I have to say, Mr. Collier, thank you. Our offices are sometimes very averse. You've always been very gracious, and all of your people have been very gracious. That has enabled us to do our job, and I just appreciate that. We're going to miss you. Over the past 2 months, State Council has opened 178 cases. We've closed 96 cases. Our average office caseload, office-wide, is a little over 1,400 cases. And we handled 3,900 pieces of correspondence in the last 2 months. You could do the next slide. The next one. there has to be one more. There has to be a picture of a lady. Oh. I wanted to introduce you all to Maxine Myers. Ms. Myers just received her 30-year service award with the state of Texas. That's 17 years with State Council. I asked her to come here today, but she is an investigator, and we have over 400 criminal cases, and a lot of that is work that she does. So I asked her supervisor to say something about her, and he said that Ms. Myers continually demonstrates her diligent dedication by often making constructive suggestions for improving the effectiveness of the investigative role. within State Council. She has proactively taken upon the role of administration and support functions whenever the supervisor is unavailable. Her dedication to the role and mission of the State Council serves as an example to the general staff, and furthermore, her vibrant personality is well known and appreciated by all those who know her. You can just look at that face and see how vibrant and just has a smile on her face every day when she comes to work, does the work for the right reason. I would add that she exemplifies Hebrews 13:3. Remember those who are in prison as though you are there with them, and she does that each and every day when she comes and assist our attorneys and assist our clients. So I will stand for any questions.
We really appreciate your recognizing Ms. Myers as a member of your valued team, first and foremost. And you know the question I'm going to ask you is, how are we doing on, what's the report on the name of your organization and where we are in getting that changed?
I have some great news. House Bill 3488 was actually adopted into the Sunset Bill, and it passed recently. And so Chapter 841 of the Health and Safety Code will now read, September 1, the board shall. And so that will make the law, when the board is required to provide legal services to indigent inmates, more uniform, but it also gets State Council out of the law. So the board then, I think, and I'm going to draft a motion, get it to Ms. Durst. The board will then be able to propose a motion and then vote on changing our name. And the best we've come up with, it's been a challenge. Independent Counsel for Inmates, ICI, the acronym is IC. There's a lot of weird acronyms, but I think we may need to go with that one.
Well, I do like that name in terms of the making sure that we get the word independent in there, because
Yes, sir.
it's very important to
Absolutely.
reinforce that to both internally and also to our external stakeholders and everyone else, to understand that the work that your organization does is completely independent. And in your capacity, you're reporting as an independent group to report to our board. So I do appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing what y'all come up with in terms of an action item for us. With that, any other questions, General?
Just one real quick, what is BIR?
BIR is a biennial review, so individuals who are targeted for civil commitment because they had 2 sexually violent offenses and they're determined to have a behavioral abnormality such that if they were released, they would be likely to reoffend. So if you have rape or some sexual assault too in the past, and you go to TDCJ for 5 years or 20 years, whatever, when you're fixing to discharge, there's going to be an assessment to determine if you are in fact a sexually violent predator, which is a person who has 2 previous sexually violent convictions, and a psychologist or psychiatrist has determined that you're likely to reoffend such that you have a behavioral abnormality. Those individuals are then civilly committed into the Littlefield unit, and every 2 years they have a right to be reviewed. It's a cursory review, and State Council Legal Services, we're the ones who handle that review. And often it's just kind of rubber stamped, but we have had some success in having some individuals released after they've worked the program, talked to psychologists, and we've gotten doctors to say they no longer have a behavioral abnormality after they've completed that training and program in that facility.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Good question. Any other questions? If not, thank you, Ms. Long, for your report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we go into Ron Hudson and all of his many motions, many requests he's about to make, I would like us to please revisit 3 motions that were previously made after our general counsel presentation. We voted on publication in the Texas Register of 3 board rules. In fact, we're a little further along in the process and don't need to publish again, and we're ready to vote for adoption of those 3 rules. So what I'd like to do is re-urge the motions. I'm going to put the 3 board rules together in one motion and ask that instead of publication that we adopt these board rules, if I may do that now.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice adopt the proposed amendments to Board Rule Title 37, Texas Administrative Code, Section 152.71, Acceptance of Gifts Related to Buildings for Religious and Secular Programs. Also, the amendments to Board Rule Title 37, Texas Administrative Code, Section 163.33, Community Supervision Staff, and Texas Board, proposed amendments to Board Rule Title 37, Texas Administrative Code, Section 163.42, substantial compliance, substantial non-compliance as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion from Judge Francis. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Judge Francis. I have a second from Vice Chair Johnson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate the cleanup. Now, the next item on the agenda is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install air conditioning system, inmate housing, Boyd Unit, Freestone County, Teague, Texas. Mr. Hudson, if you're ready, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman Nichols, Vice Chair Johnson, Mr. Collier, members. In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Boyd Unit located in Teague, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $26,275,100. I will pause for any questions you may have.
So, Board, are there any questions or comments over and above the good discussion that was had on this and other items in the Business and Finance Committee meeting? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install air conditioning systems, inmate housing at the Boyd Unit and Freestone County, Teague, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Ms. Zeiker. Do I have a second? Second. Motion from Ms. Zeiker, second from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, Gurney Unit, Anderson County, Palestine, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Gurney Unit located in Palestine, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $10,301,600. I will pause for any questions you may have.
Again, Board, over and above the discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting, are there any other questions for Mr. Hudson on this item? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Chairman, you do. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system, inmate housing at the Gurney Unit in Anderson County, Palestine, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Pastor Nate Sprinkle. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion from Pastor Nate Sprinkle. I have a second from General Welch. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, High Tower Unit, Liberty County, Dayton, Texas. Mr. Hudson, your turn.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the High Tower Unit located in Dayton, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and we're now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $23,148,000. I will pause for any questions.
Again, board members, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier, any questions on this item? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system, inmate housing at the High Tower Unit, Liberty County, Dayton, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Mr. Fordyce. Do I have a second? Second. Motion from Mr. Fordyce, second from Ms. Zeiker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, Chester 3 Unit, Fort Bend County, Richmond, Texas. Mr. Hudson, you're on.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the District 3 unit located in Richmond, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost of $5,828,300. I will pause for any questions.
Again, Board, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier, any additional questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you do. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system inmate housing at the District 3 unit in Fort Bend County, Richmond, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Johnson. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Vice Chair Johnson. I have a second from Pastor Nate Sprinkle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system inmate housing Luther Unit, Grimes County, Navasota, Texas. Mr. Hudson.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Luther unit located in Navasota, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost $8,484,600. I will pause for any questions you may have.
Again, Board, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting, any additional questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install an HVAC system inmate housing at the Luther unit in Grimes County, Navasota, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Dr. Burrow. I have a second from Vice Chair Johnson. All those in favor say aye. Oh, I got the wrong judge. I do that every now and then. So second is from Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system 3 building, Palunsky Unit, Polk County, Livingston, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please continue.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Palunsky unit located in Livingston, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost $8,291,500. I will pause for any questions.
Again, Board, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier, any additional questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system 3 building at the Palunsky unit in Polk County, Livingston, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Judge Francis. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Judge Francis. I have a second from Vice Chair Johnson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, Pallage Unit, Anderson County, Palestine, Texas. You may proceed, Mr. Lewis.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Pallage Unit located in Palestine, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $7,585,000. I will pause for any questions.
Well, first of all,
I heard you.
I don't know if you feel good about it or bad about it, but I did call you Mr. Lewis. So, apologies for that.
Apologies accepted.
Over and above. Over and above the good discussion on this item we had during the Business and Finance Committee meeting. Any additional comments or questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system inmate housing at the Pallage Unit in Anderson County, Palestine, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from General Welch. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion from General Welch. I have a second from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project, request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, Stevenson Unit, DeWitt County, Cuero, Texas. Mr. Hudson, you're on.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Stevenson Unit located in Cuero, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost of $28,070,400. I will pause for any questions.
Board, over and above the good discussion we had earlier at the Business and Finance Committee meeting, are there any questions or comments on this item? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system inmate housing at the Stevenson Unit in DeWitt County, Cuero, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Ms. Zeiker. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Ms. Zeiker. I had multiple seconds, I believe, but Judge Francis was one. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project, request to install HVAC system 8 building Styles Unit, Jefferson County, Beaumont, Texas. Please proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Styles Unit located in Beaumont, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost $7,957,200. I will pause for any questions you may have.
Board, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier, are there any questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC System 8 building at the Styles Unit in Jefferson County, Beaumont, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Pastor Sprinkle. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Pastor Sprinkle. I have a second from General Welch. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division Construction Project, request to install HVAC system, inmate housing, Terrell Unit, Brazoria County, Rocheron, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please continue.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install HVAC inmate housing at the Terrell Unit located in Rocheron, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for board's approval for a total program cost of $12,154,000. I will pause for any questions.
Board, over and above the good discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier, are there any additional questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install HVAC system inmate housing at the Terrell Unit in Brazoria County, Rocheron, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Mr. Fordyce. Do I have a second? I have a motion from Mr. Fordyce. I believe that was Vice Chair Johnson. Was that right? Oh, all right. My bad. So I have a motion from Mr. Fordyce. I have a second from Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hudson.
And I want to add one thing. You know, with the current number of units we have currently air conditioned fully right now, we're sitting at 35. With y'all approving this today, and with the two current projects that we got going on, the Goodman unit, which is currently a board project, and the Bartlett unit that we're currently doing now, with 8 of 10 of these, that will put us at 45 total units now. When we're done with these, that will be fully air conditioned. So we are making headway. Thank y'all.
So that's hold on, that's 45 units.
45 total units that will be fully air conditioned.
Fully air conditioned in all housing areas, is that what you're telling us?
Yes, that's what we're talking about. Yes,
all
sir.
right. Thank you very much for your report.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Just for the record, and especially for those who are online, I think everyone needs to know that this board is so elated and excited about these air conditioner system going into all these units. I was out there last week, and Judge Francis could not have done it, but I did it. I was sweating from top to bottom. I went to 5 units. Yeah, she would have had her fan and still would not have helped. So we feel what's going on. I purposely wanted to go during the summertime because I wanted to experience what our inmates and our staff are going through. So we are elated and we are excited about these units, air conditioned units going in, and we're going to be fighting until all 100 units get fully air conditioned. That's our position. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
I think, how could I disagree with the statement that was put out so forcefully? And again, it's consistent with the discussion we had at the Business and Finance Committee meeting earlier. We so much appreciate the efforts of the legislature in allocating these additional resources. And, you know, if any of us had a magic wand and could wave it and air conditioning would miraculously appear at all these units and all the housing areas, of course we would do it, but that's not the world that we live in. That's not reality. Right. But the fact that people are being so intentional about not only getting the resource allocated, but also, as you illustrated earlier in the Business and Finance Committee meeting, making sure it gets done, right? Yes. I mean, because with these projects, this is taking care of all of the appropriations that were allocated towards this in the last legislative session, not the one that just ended, but the previous one.
That is correct.
And then you're also going to present us shortly with projects that will implicate the additional funding that the legislature gave us during the session that just ended. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So again, I think that's completely consistent with what the vice chair is saying, that we appreciate all of the efforts that are going on at multiple levels, and we also appreciate the efforts that for those units that don't yet have air conditioning and housing. We appreciate the efforts of a bunch of stakeholders, including the Correctional Managed Healthcare Committee, the great folks we have working within the Correctional Institutions Division, all of our Health Services Division. I'm sure I'm leaving others out that play an integral role in making sure that we have the heat mitigation measures, the right heat mitigation measures in place, and that those heat mitigation measures are being implemented and enforced at our units. So I think I apologize, Vice Chair, that I didn't include that credit before, but your comment definitely caused me to do that. So thanks also to our TDCJ administration and all the other stakeholders for what they are doing to ensure that we have the proper heat mitigation in place.
Okay, thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we got to give Mr. Lewis equal time now. So, and if you want me to call you Mr. Hudson, I could do that.
No, sir, I appreciate it. I'll stay with Mr. Lewis if you don't mind.
All right. All right, the next agenda item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction request for a water line easement renewal, Briscoe Unit, Frio County, Dilley, Texas. And Mr. Lewis, whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Afternoon, Chairman Nichols, Mr. Collier, and members. As discussed during the Business and Finance meeting, we have 4 items on the agenda. All of the easements and land transactions presented at the board meeting today include language requiring indemnification as a grantee's responsibility and the most favored nation clause. Compensation was negotiated at current geographical appraisal values. The City of Dilley requests to renew an expiring easement for one 12-inch pipeline at the Briscoe unit. The easement includes an area of approximately 1.437 acres of land, or 3,130 feet long by 20 feet wide, for transportation of water. The City of Dilley has agreed to pay $5,472 for the renewal of this easement for a 10-year term. We recommend that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a right-of-way easement to the City of Dilley. I stand available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any questions or comments from the board on this item? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you do. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a waterline easement renewal at the Briscoe unit in Frio County, Dilley, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Johnson. I have a second from Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction request for a valve site easement renewal, Clemens Unit, Brazoria County, Texas. Members of the board, I would like to state for the record, I don't ordinarily vote unless it is to break a tie. However, my firm represents Chevron entities, therefore I will not be taking action today on the request for a valve site easement renewal, Clemens Unit, Brazoria County, Brazoria, Texas. Mr. Lewis, please proceed.
Phillips 66 Pipeline requests to renew an expiring easement at the Clemens Unit, which includes a surface area of 0.7 acres of land, along with a utility access road consisting of 0.2 acres of land, 30 feet wide for a combined acreage of 0.9. To continue to transport natural gas liquids, Phillips 66 Pipeline has agreed to pay $15,255 for the renewal of the easement for a 10-year term. We recommend that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a right-of-way easement to Phillips 66 Pipeline LLC. I stand available for questions.
Ms. Zeiker, do you have a comment?
Yes, Chairman Nichols, members of the board, I wish to abstain from voting on the Clemens Unit land transaction involving with Phillips 66 Pipeline as they are donors for my workplace.
Right. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a valve site easement renewal at the Clemens Unit in Brazoria County, Brazoria, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. I have a second from General Welch. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Please let the record show that Ms. Zeiker and I abstained from voting on the request for a valve site easement renewal, Clemens Unit, Brazoria County, Texas. The next agenda item is a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction request for a pipeline easement, Gurney Unit, Anderson County, Palestine, Texas. Mr. Lewis, please proceed.
Solution Midstream requests a new easement for one 24-inch pipeline at the Girding Unit, which includes an area of approximately 11.738 acres of land, or 10,225.83 feet long, by 50 feet wide to transport natural gas. This request includes temporary workspace for an approximate total of 5.028 acres for use during pipeline construction and installation. Solution Midstream has agreed to pay $340,124.95 for this easement and temporary workspace for a 10-year term. We recommend that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve this request for a right-of-way easement to Solution Midstream.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a pipeline easement at the Gurney Unit in Anderson County, Palestine, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from Judge Francis. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion from Judge Francis. I have a second from Board Secretary Dr. Rodney Burrow. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction request for an access easement, Halbert Unit, Burnett County, Burnett, Texas. Mr. Lewis, please proceed.
Atmos Energy Corporation requests a new easement at the Halbert Unit, which includes an area of approximately 0.517 acres of land, or 22,500 square feet. Additionally, the request includes a 0.584 acre road access easement and temporary workspace of 0.137 acres for use during construction and installation. The easement is adjacent to the existing surface easement granted to Atmos Energy Corporation in 2019. Atmos Energy Corporation has agreed to pay $210,895.80 for a total of 1.238 acres for the easement and temporary workspace for a 10-year term. We recommend that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a right-of-way easement to Atmos Energy Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any comments or questions from the board on this item? If not, do I have a motion?
Yes, Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for an access easement at the Halbert Unit in Burnett County, Burnett, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion from General Welch. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion from General Welch. I have a second from Pastor Sprinkle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
we again thank all of you for coming here today or by attending virtually. The next meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice will take place on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 in Austin. The board will now go into recess to conduct an executive session which is closed to the public in accordance with the Texas Government Code sections 551.071 and 551.074. The executive session will be conducted in the Orion Boardroom here at the Stella Hotel. The 241st meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice is now in recess. It is 1:47 p.m. Thank y'all.